My name is Harriet. I'm 32 years old. The room was dead silent, but my ears were ringing. My husband's entire family was staring at me, their faces a grim mix of pity and contempt. His mother, Carol, had just wrapped up a tearful, Oscar worthy performance, accusing me of stealing her antique diamond necklace. My own husband, Mark, the man who'd sworn to protect me, couldn't even look at me. His voice was just a strained whisper when he finally broke the silence. Just open your purse, please. Let's just end this. I took a deep breath, letting it out slowly as I looked from one accusatory face to the next. I saw Carol, her mascara smudged just enough to look convincing. I saw my father in law, Richard, standing behind her like a smug bodyguard. And finally, I looked at Mark, his face just pale with shame. You're right, I said, my voice cutting through the tension surprisingly firm. Let's end this. But I didn't reach for my purse. Instead, I grabbed the TV remote from the coffee table. I saw a flicker of confusion on their faces. They had no clue I'd been documenting their visits for weeks. They thought they had me perfectly cornered, that they'd finally painted me as the villain. They didn't know I was about to play the footage that would expose the real thief. It didn't start with diamonds, it started with whispers 6 months ago. When I married Mark, I knew his family was tight knit. His parents, Carol and Richard, were the center of that little universe. In the beginning, I really did try. I hosted dinners, remembered birthdays, and even laughed at Richard's terrible jokes. All I wanted was for them to accept me. But everything I did was met with this subtle, chilling resistance. It was in the little things. Carol would compliment my cooking by saying, "It's so interesting what you can make on a budget." Richard would offer advice on our finances, which was really just a thinly veiled jab at my career, implying it wasn't good enough for their family. I was the outsider, and they never let me forget it. Mark either didn't see it or chose not to. He'd just call them his parents' quirks. He'd say, "That's just how they are," and squeeze my hand as if that could fix it. I felt like I was living in a different reality where the air got heavy with disapproval the second his parents walked through our door. The home we built together never really felt like mine. Soon the whispers turned into something more tangible, more sinister. The first time it was $50. We kept a little emergency cash fund in a jar on the kitchen counter. One week it was there. The next, right after his parents' Sunday check in, it was gone. When I mentioned it, Carol jumped in, her voice dripping with fake concern. "Oh, honey, you're always so busy. You probably just misplaced it. You can be a little scatterbrained." A hot flash of anger went through me, but I bit my tongue. Mark just shrugged. "She might be right. It'll turn up." It never did. A few weeks later, a gift card I'd gotten for my birthday vanished from the key bowl by the door. Again, Carol and Richard had just visited. This time, the implication was sharper. "Are you sure you even brought it home from the restaurant?" Carol asked, looking straight at Mark. "You two should really be more careful." She wasn't just calling me forgetful anymore, she was painting me as irresponsible. It got so bad I started to second guess myself. Did I lose the money? Did I leave the gift card? They were masters of gaslighting, and it was starting to work. My own home, my sanctuary, was becoming a place where I was constantly being tested and always failing. The final straw came on a gloomy Tuesday afternoon. I'd just gotten home from work and walked into our bedroom to change. I immediately felt that sinking feeling in my stomach. Something was wrong. I went to my jewelry box, a gift from my late mother. I was looking for the simple gold earrings she gave me for my wedding. They were my most treasured possession. My heart started to pound as I rummaged through the box. They weren't there. I frantically emptied the whole thing onto the bed. They were gone. And I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, who had been there. Carol had dropped by that morning unannounced to bring over some lasagna. She'd used our master bathroom. When Mark got home, I was just sitting on the bed crying. I told him what happened. I told him it had to be his mother. His reaction was worse than I could have ever imagined. He physically recoiled. My mother steal from you? Are you crazy? You lost your earrings and you're going to accuse my mom of being a thief? His words hit me harder than any of Carol's insults. He didn't believe me. In that one moment, I had never felt more alone. He saw his loving parents. I saw two people who were trying to systematically destroy my credibility. He saw a lost item. I saw a calculated attack. And I knew right then I couldn't fight this with words anymore. I needed proof. That night, long after Mark was asleep, I sat in the dark with my laptop. My hands were shaking as I typed discrete security cameras into Google. I won't lie, a part of me felt sick about it. This was my home. Spying on my own family felt like a profound betrayal. But what choice did I have? They were trying to turn my own husband against me. This wasn't just about catching a thief anymore, it was about survival. I scrolled past the obvious dome cameras. I didn't want to scare them off. I wanted to catch them. I needed something they'd never see coming. I ended up choosing two devices. The first was a simple USB wall charger that looked exactly like the one we already had in the living room, giving me a perfect view of the main space. The second was a sleek digital clock for our bedroom dresser. My logic was simple. Visible cameras would only make them more careful. Hidden cameras were the only way to capture the truth I so desperately needed. When the package arrived, I felt like a spy in my own house. I waited for Mark to leave for work, and with my heart pounding in my chest, I set them up. I swapped the charger, replaced the alarm clock, and downloaded the app. The live feeds popped up on my phone, crystal clear. Now, all I had to do was wait. The next few weeks were torture. Every time Carol called to say she was dropping by, a jolt of anxiety shot through me. I was a nervous wreck, but I had to play the part. I smiled, I made small talk, I offered coffee, all while a part of my brain was tracking their every move. I'd excuse myself to the kitchen and pull out my phone, my hand shaking as I checked the app. What I saw was horrifying in how casual it was. I watched Carol pick up our mail and flip through it. I watched Richard, while hanging up his coat, slide his hand into the pocket of my jacket. He found nothing but the intent. It was right there. They were more than just thieves. They were snoops. They felt entitled to every corner of our lives. Each little recording was another piece of evidence confirming that I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. I was being targeted. And I knew, with a growing sense of dread, they were building up to something bigger. They made their big move at their 40th wedding anniversary party. Carol insisted we host it at our house. "It's just cozier here," she'd said, her voice syrupy sweet. I knew it was a setup. When they arrived, Carol made a huge entrance wearing this stunning over-the-top diamond necklace. She made sure everyone saw it. "Richard had it cleaned just for tonight," she announced, touching it delicately. "It's been in the family for 100 years." She was setting the stage, and I was her unwilling co-star. Dinner was a blur of fake smiles. After the cake, everyone moved to the living room. And that's when the show began. Carol let out a piercing gasp, her hand flying to her neck. "My necklace!" she shrieked, her eyes wide with fake panic. "It's gone!" Instantly, our cozy living room felt like an interrogation chamber. Richard was right by her side, his face a mask of fury aimed directly at me. "It was here a minute ago," he boomed. Carol started sobbing. spinning a story about feeling faint and taking the necklace off for just a second in the guest bathroom. You, Richard said, pointing a shaky finger at me, you were the only one who went in there after her. The trap was sprung. All our relatives turned to look at me, their friendly faces now full of suspicion. They saw a loving mother robbed of a family heirloom, and they saw me, the outsider, the one with the opportunity. It was a masterful performance. Then came the final blow. Mark, my husband, buckled under the pressure. He walked over, his face pleading. "Just open your purse, please," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Let's just end this." In that moment, he wasn't my partner, he was their pawn. Looking at his broken face, my anger was replaced by a cold, hard resolve. I'd been dreading this moment, but now that it was here, I felt strangely calm. I stood up. The room fell silent. "You're right," I said, my voice echoing with a strength I didn't know I had. "Let's end this." I walked right past my purse, past the shocked faces of our family, and picked up the TV remote. I could see Carol's sobbing hitch for a second. "Before we do anything else," I announced to the silent room, "I think there's something we should all see. A few things have gone missing from our house over the past few months. After being made to feel like I was losing my mind, I installed a few security measures for my own peace of mind. I turned on the TV, mirrored my phone screen, and the camera app loaded onto our 65-inch TV. You could have heard a pin drop. I navigated to the saved files and pressed play on the one labeled anniversary. A black and white time-stamped video appeared. It was the feed from the digital clock in our bedroom. The timestamp was from the middle of dinner. The footage was silent, but it spoke volumes. The video showed our bedroom door creaking open. It was Carol. She slipped inside, glanced nervously down the hall, and then closed the door. She wasn't looking for a bathroom. She walked straight to my side of the bed. Then, in a move that made the entire room gasp, she unclasped the diamond necklace from her own neck and carefully slid it deep between my mattress and the box spring. She patted the comforter down, took one last look around, and slipped out. I let the video play on a loop. Carol entering, Carol hiding the necklace, Carol leaving. Her guilt was screaming from the screen. The silence was absolute. It was only broken by the faint sound of the bedroom door clicking shut on the recording. Carol's face went from theatrical sadness to a ghastly chalky white. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish, but no words came out. Richard started to bluster. This is an invasion of privacy. How dare you?" But his words were hollow. No one was listening. Every eye in that room was on Carol, the woman who was just exposed as a malicious liar. Mark was just frozen, staring at the screen. The color drained from his face as he looked at his mother, truly looked at her, and years of denial just crumbled. Slowly, like he was in a trance, he walked out of the living room and down the hall. A moment later, he came back. His hand was outstretched, and sparkling in his palm was the diamond necklace. He held it out for everyone to see, the final, tangible proof of his mother's betrayal. The frame job was complete, but she was the one caught in it. The weeks that followed were a storm of anger and painful decisions. Rebuilding trust with Mark has been a journey, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. Have you ever been in a situation where your gut was screaming that something was wrong, but no one believed you? Have you ever had your own reality questioned by the people who are supposed to have your back? I want to hear about it, so please share your story in the comments. And if you want to hear about how we navigated the healing process and set boundaries after this, make sure to like and subscribe. It took a long, painful conversation, but Mark finally found his voice. He told his parents that what they'd done was unforgivable and that he needed space. He told them to get out of our house that night, and they left in a cloud of shame. We're no contact with them now. It's a wound that may never fully heal for Mark, but it was a necessary amputation to save our marriage. We started counseling to unpack the years of manipulation and rebuild the foundation his parents worked so hard to demolish. It was a long road, but we're stronger now than ever. I never wanted to be the person who puts hidden cameras in her own home, but those cameras did more than catch a thief. They revealed a truth so toxic it was poisoning our lives. They gave my husband his sight back, and they gave me my sanity back. Sometimes you have to fight for your own peace, and sometimes in a world full of lies, a clear picture is the only thing that can set you free.